everybody, today we are going to be talking about Fox Crossing by Melinda Metz. Fox Crossing is a fictional story about a fox who everybody believes is very lucky, and if you see her, you will be given luck in some shape or form. Our two main characters that we get the perspective of the most is Annie and Nick. Annie Hatherley is the character who has lived in Fox Crossing for her whole life, and Nick is a man who's just coming there to hike this trail that is very dangerous, very long. Most people just take it in sections, and it can take like several months if you're going to do the entire thing. And the amount that he has set his goal for is going to take him 10-ish days. That's how long he's prepared to be gone. And so he goes in. The first thing we learn is that he needs to double check on some gear. So he comes into Hatherley's, the store that Annie does, the outfitter's store, and she takes one look at him and knows that he is not ready for this, and basically tells him that, but not in the most politest of ways for a store manager or a worker to do to a customer. Basically says, "Let me see your pack," and makes him look through everything in his pack. It's very large, has a lot of stuff, and she throws a bunch of stuff out like, you don't need this, you don't need this, you don't need this, you're not going to want to carry this with you, you're not going to make it. What do you have a tracker? What happens if you get lost? A GPS on your phone is not reliable. You might not have service. You need a tracker. And so he's already off the bat is like, wow, this woman is crazy, but decides to get a tracker anyway. Annie basically forces him to get this tracker, and she's the one that's able to see on her phone where he is at all times so that she can make sure that he's safe. And basically right off the bat, her grandmother, who they call Honey, she and her mom realize that this Nick person and Annie have a spark, they call it. Honey is like, you guys, I saw that spark the second you came in. And Annie's denying it the whole time, like, no, he was completely unprepared. He could have died going into that. Like, he should not be hiking this. And especially the way he came in here, that was like, I helped him so much by doing that. And they're like, well, you should have been a little nicer to him, because I bet when he gets back, you probably could have hit it off. And now he's going to think that you're not very nice. And this whole time, basically, in this book is her denying that there is this click, which there clearly is. There's this spark. And even Nick felt it too, but at the same time he's like, man, I'm gonna prove her wrong, like I can do this, like who is she to tell me that I can't? And so his mind is constantly bogged down by her, and she's trying to not think about him either. And so it's like this love story that you know is going to probably happen, but they're both really, really stubborn and gonna make it hard on themselves for this to work out, is basically most of what this book is, really. But he does go on to the trail. He does make it for a couple of days before something bad happens, and luckily he had the tracker because it basically saved his life. And so Annie saved his life pretty much because of this tracker that she made him get. We go throughout the story some more. We learn more about Nick, how he was recently divorced and how that's affecting him. Eventually, Chloe, who is a old friend that used to live in Fox Crossing with Annie, she comes to write a thesis paper on how self-esteem is affected with love and having relationships, and if it affects it a lot, and if it's a positive thing or a negative thing on how it affects self-esteem. We have someone named Banana, who is a worker at the bar, a bar owner, and he has a granddaughter that's coming to stay with him for the summer, and so her name's Jordan. And then we also have, like I said, Annie's mother and grandmother. Her mother, whose name's Belle. Annie and Belle their names came from Annabelle Hatherley, who it was their like great grandmother, something like that. She is the one that helped the fox, this legendary fox to begin with. And so everybody believes that this fox is, well, some people believe, most people believe that this fox is still alive after hundreds of years, which doesn't seem likely. So they assume like it's probably just the offspring of that fox. But it has special features on it that they can tell if it's that fox or not. And so basically a couple of our characters end up seeing the fox, and they think that this is a sign for something, and that there's a reason for whenever someone sees the fox, because of the luck that the fox brings. Now, when I first picked this up, I just thought it looked like a really cute, like, wintry kind of story, because the background makes it appear like it's snow, and the fox with like the snow on his face or her face, and I just really was expecting there to be like a cute story about a fox, like, but really it's about Annie and Nick and their relationship and the relationship of the people that they know, that they are around. And the fox has like these little italicized paragraphs that come in every once in a while that say a couple of things, like in the fox's perspective. And this happens, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 times, like, out of this whole entire book. So the fact that we're getting such a small amount of the fox's perspective kind of ruins the idea of it being about a fox. I mean, the name Fox Crossing, they have a lot of fox-related apparel and things that you can buy, and the legend around this fox and everything, but really all it mainly is the name of the town that they live in. And like, yeah, it's not as much about the fox as it is about the people, which I guess kind of makes sense. If you're writing a book that's not geared towards children, you're probably not going to have the main character be an animal in your book if you're trying to get an older audience to read. So of course there's going to be actual people in the storyline, but I just expected there to be a lot more of the fox, a lot more of the paragraphs of the fox talking and explaining more about what the fox was saying. And I understand that there is a sequel to this, which I may or may not read. I'm not sure if it's even the same characters, because I picked it up and when I read a little bit on the back, and it introduced some characters that were not in this book. So it makes me feel like it's not necessarily like in order where you have to read this one. Like, it's kind of like not a true sequel. And so if that's the case, it makes me feel like we're still gonna get the fox in the same amount that we got him in this book, or her in this book. And so it makes me feel like I don't know if I really care to continue reading about the fox if it's not gonna give me that much details about the fox anyway, except for in reference when the adults are talking or the humans are talking about the fox, rather than it just being like the fox telling the story for more of it, which is just what I was expecting, and I didn't get it as much as I wanted. So all in all, the story's fine. Annie's kind of annoying as a character because she's extremely more stubborn and opinionated than Nick is. Nick's a little bit more relaxed and a little bit more carefree, pretty opposite to how Annie is. And so there were a lot of times near the end of the books that I was just like, oh my gosh, get over it, Annie, just like loosen up a little bit. And I guess that's the point of her character, that's just who she is. But it's not always the funnest character to read about, because you're just here sitting thinking like, oh, just come on already. Like, get over all these thoughts that you have that are stupid, and you know that they're stupid. Like, just let yourself be. Like, let yourself be who you want to be and relax. And like, so anyways, that kind of got a little bit tiring at the end for me. But it's not like she's super stubborn about everything the entire time. She does loosen up a little bit, but it just takes longer than I wanted it to. So yeah, anyways, I hope I didn't get too spoilery for you on this review. I feel like I didn't really tell you very much of what actually happened in the plot. So there's still a lot left to be a mystery for you if you're gonna read this book. And yeah, so that's all I have for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.